Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this simple ribbed sunglasses case with a little loop to hang this up. Today we're going to be making this very simple sunglasses case with this nice little loop as part of our 2 skein challenge. And if you're interested in other projects like this, check the links in the description. And for our sunglasses case, I am working with some size 4 medium weight yarn, and these are both the Lion brand yarns, Re-Up recycled cotton and polyester blend yarn, and the colors are Rosewater and Surf Spray. And I'm also going to be using a size G or 4 1/4 millimeter crochet hook. You're also going to want to grab a safety pin or stitch marker. And we're going to begin by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot, and then we want to chain 13. And once you have your 13 chains, then we're going to turn our work, and I want you to skip the first 2 chains right here, and we're going to place a double crochet in that back loop of our 3rd stitch. So right here. And then we're going to place 1 double crochet in the back loop only of the remaining stitches in our row. So you should have a total of 11 double crochets. And when you get to the end of your row, I want you to turn your work toward your starting tail here. So what we're going to be doing is placing double crochets in the front loop only of each stitch from our chain row. So we're basically just going to create a large oval pattern. And so now you've created your small oval pattern, so from here on out our rows are going to be in the round rather than back and forth. And when you count your chain 2, you should have a total of 24 double crochets in the round. And for our next row, we are going to be alternating between placing front and back post stitches, and we're also going to start a spiral pattern, so we shouldn't have to worry about starting and stopping our individual rows. So we're going to begin our 2nd row with a front post stitch around our chain 2. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to insert our crochet hook around the stem that forms that first stitch. And we're going to yarn over and pull up through the stem, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops at a time to complete our stitch. So that is how you place a front post stitch, and you'll see that this creates a little ridge as you add on to this. So next we're going to place a back post stitch in this first double crochet. And we're going to do that by yarning over, and then we want to insert from behind and then wrap around the front of the stem and then insert back around behind. We're going to yarn over and pull up through the stem and then yarn over and drop 2 loops at a time to complete our stitch. It's a little bit hard to see in this row, but as we add more stitches, you'll start to see what the pattern looks like. So we're going to yarn over and then insert our crochet hook from the front, around behind, and then back out the front for our front post stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up through the stem, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops at a time to complete our stitch. Now again, we're going to work a back post stitch. So we're going to start from behind our project and capture the stem in our crochet hook, and then we're going to end up back on the back of our project. We're going to yarn over and pull up through the stem, and then yarn over and drop 2 loops at a time to complete our stitch. So from here, we are just going to alternate between placing front and back post stitches going all the way around our row, and you should end on a back post stitch, and you should have 24 post stitches when you get to the end of your row. And When you get to the end of your row, your sunglasses case should look something like this. So you can see that we have little ridges starting to form. Our first front post stitch sometimes starts to twist because this is pulling in an oval pattern, so it might be a little bit difficult to see. But all we're going to do for the next few rows is just follow like stitches. So to work a front post stitch on top of a front post stitch, you just want to grab your new stem in your stitch like this. And again, you want to insert your crochet hook from the front. And the same thing goes for working a back post stitch around a back post. You're just going to work around your new little stem sticking out of the top here, and you want to insert your crochet hook from behind your project around the front like this, and then back around to the back. And we are going to repeat this pattern for our next 3 rows. And at the end of your 3 rows, your sunglasses case should look something like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to place a slip stitch around our next post. So I ended on a front post stitch. So now I'm just going to insert my crochet hook around the post the same way I would for a back post stitch. And I'm just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on my crochet hook. From here, I'm going to pull this loop out nice and long and insert my safety pin or stitch marker here. So now you can pull your loop nice and tight back down, and when the time comes that you want to add to this, you can just pull your loop out like this and reinsert your crochet hook. From here, we are going to attach our next color to our crochet hook using a slip knot. And for this next part, we are going to insert our crochet hook in 2 stitches. The first is this back post stitch from our previous row. So we're just going to slide our crochet hook in that stitch. And the second stitch is this slip stitch that we placed around that post. So once you've inserted your crochet hook in your 2 stitches, then you're just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on your crochet hook for a slip stitch. And then we're going to chain 2. And the pattern from here is just going to be to place 1 double crochet in each stitch in our row going all the way around. And we should have a total of 24 double crochets when you count your chain 2. And when you get to the end of your row, then all you're going to do is repeat these steps here for placing your post stitches. So we want to continue to work with like stitches. So for this very first stitch, we want to place a back post stitch because that's what we worked in the previous section. And then we're going to alternate between placing front and back post stitches. So your ridges should line up between your colors. So go ahead and repeat the process from the previous section until you have your 5 total rows with your new color. And again, you want to end your last stitch on this last front post stitch, and then we're going to place our slip stitch around the back post just like we did before. Then we want to chain 45. And once you have your 45 chains in place, then again, we want to place a slip stitch around that same back post stitch. And from here, we're going to cut and tie off this color yarn. And I recommend going ahead and hiding your tail on the inside of your case. It just makes it a lot easier for later. So from here, go ahead and turn this up a little bit so you can get back to this loop that you left over with your previous color. And we're going to slide our crochet hook in that loop. And we're going to chain 6. And we can pull our sunglasses case correctly again. So now we're going to work in our top row again. And this is going to be a little bit confusing, so you're just going to have to bear with me. The first thing we're going to do is slide our crochet hook into the back post behind where our chain handle is. So right here into this back post stitch, we're going to slide our crochet hook and yarn over and drop all the loops on it. And then we're going to chain 2. From here, I want you to take your chain handle and pull it forward a little bit. And what we're going to do is place a double crochet in 1 or 2 of the loops that form our stitch, rather than working around the stem. So we don't actually have a top of our stitch because we placed that chain rope. So we just kind of have to pretend like we're creating one here by placing a double crochet in just one of the loops here. And next we're going to place a double crochet in our next stitch, and then we're just going to continue to place 1 double crochet in each stitch going all the way around our row, and we should have a total of 23 double crochets in that chain 2. And at the end of your row, you're going to place 1 back post stitch around your chain 2. And when it comes to placing your front post stitch around this next stitch, you're going to be crocheting over your chain handle as well as that post stitch. So we're going to be bringing our chain handle up the side of our sunglasses case. So you're just going to line that up with your post like this and crochet right over it like it is part of your post. And in our next stitch, we're going to place a regular back post stitch. And then in our following stitch, we're going to place a front post stitch, and we're going to also work around the other side of our chain handle. From here, we're just going to continue to alternate between back and front post stitches going all the way around our row, and we should have a total of 24 post stitches when we're done. And when you get to the end of your row, again, you want to follow like stitches. So you're going to begin with a back post stitch in your following stitch. And then when it comes to placing your next front post stitch, you want to make sure you're also working over your chain handle as well, just like you did in the previous row. And so from here, we're just going to follow like stitches for the next 3 rows and working over our chain handle in those 2 front post stitches to draw it up to the top of our sunglasses case. And you're going to end your last row in this last front post stitch before your chain handle. And you're going to place a slip stitch around your back post for your next stitch. And then you are going to cut and tie off your yarn. And I like to hide my tail down the inside of my sunglasses case. And now your sunglasses case should look something like this. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.